Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday. It is after 1:30, and this is going to be as brief as I can make it because I have a few things to do before going to work. I gotta take a breath. This is actually going to be the beginning of a new read. Basically, I'm going to go through and either read old stuff that still is apparent, important to my brain, or it's going to be new stuff because I'm rereading the Bible. I actually started last week, but because of life, you don't get to read as much as you want to. But anyhow, this is from Genesis 3:17 to 3:30. And I'm going to paraphrase it just to make it quicker. Basically, God is telling Adam, because he listened to his wife and ate from the forbidden fruit, his life is basically, going to be hard. He's going to have to work for a living. He's going to have to toil in hard dirt and sand and dirt and just the region he lives in. Then God goes to tell Eve that she's going to go through birthing pains, and basically they're both going to be going through a lot of pain, which God promised the opposite. God basically said, as long as you listen to me and don't touch this particular tree, your life is going to be, carefree and painless, and, they'll be practically immortal. Now, sorry. My allergies and whatnot are causing throat problems. Now, I read enough in the lost books of the Bible that our mainstream Bible that we have does not talk about a lot of different things, like what was Eden really like, how big was Eden, and by the sounds of it, it sounded like it was huge. My brain tells me that the Bible, explains the birth of Christ, or not the birth of Christ, excuse me, the creation of the earth as we know it. But actually, scientists have proven otherwise. Science and geography has said Pangea, that there was once upon a time all the land masses were connected, and they called it Pangea. And there's proof of life from the time that the scientists, actually some scientists say that, the earth is older than what we think. And certain civilizations are older than we think. Now, I'm not into trying to figure out how old our planet is or how old the oldest civilization was. I'm more interested in what was there a Pangea, and if there was, the lost books of the Bible have tried to explain it. And they explain a lot of, try to explain a lot of different things. And I'm just taking, what I know from the Bible, what I continue reading in the Bible, plus this book, and I'm coming up with my own conclusions or deductions. Now, I'm not saying that the Bible is wrong. No. What I'm saying is there's a lot of information that was originally in the Bible that's missing due to translation or due to who knows what group decided to cut these items out of the Bible because it's just too much information and not enough religion, or not enough, whatever you want to call it. Now, here's the funny thing. According to a lot of scholars, the Bible was originally written 200 years after the death of Christ, which makes it even harder for me to say that our current Bible is not true, because, again, telephone game. Now, according to a lot of people who come up with their own conclusions, is that God inspired a group of men who had the ability to write, to create, to write out the Bible. But again, you have various church groups like the Roman Catholic Church, the English Catholic Church, King James especially. Now, I'm not saying that King James was wrong by taking out bits and pieces of the Bible, but for the Roman Empire and the English Catholic Church to decide what should or should not be in the Bible was not their department, was not, should just left it as is, as it was written. The thing is, there's proof that one particular language that was used in the original Bible or the original text was in Aramaic. And Aramaic is a dead language. Now, I don't know when the language died out or when they stopped using it, because, you had the Roman Empire with their influence and, all the surrounding heathen tribes, or what we're going to call them, pagan tribes, surrounding them, and the languages had to change for one reason or another. But the Bible was written in 3 languages: Aramaic, Hebrew, and I don't know if it was written in Roman or Greek, but it was written in 3 different languages. Now, I don't know how long it took them, the original scholars, to write the information God was passing down to them into a book. Now, I have this new book. I think I showed it to you once. Come on. This is basically 4 Bibles combined into one book. Now you can tell it's pretty thick. But I'm thinking that this book, plus maybe the thickness of the Lost Book of the Bibles, would be much, much, much thicker. And probably was put into multiple scrolls or how they, had their texts and whatnot written onto them. But the thing is, to me, the creed, not creed, excuse me, the being exiled from the Garden of Eden and losing its location, I think, was one of the biggest mistakes mankind made. Now you got to realize, the only reason why they decided to eat this apple or fruit, a lot of people want to say apple, I just say fruit because, depending on our imagination, depending on what what the fruit could have looked like. It could have looked like an apple. It could have looked like bananas. It could have looked like papayas. It could have looked like any known fruit, or a combination of fruits to look like a banana in a ball instead of just hanging as it does, with the essence of various other fruits within. So, pick your favorite fruit and say that's the fruit. That's the apple of Eden. Now, I, for one, could think of the weirdest looking fruit with the weirdest kind of taste. I mean, I'm drinking right now orange pineapple with apple. With apple juice. It's mixed all together in a juice form. As far as I'm concerned, this could have been the fruit from the Garden of Eden. I don't know. It's 3 of my favorite flavors. Now, the thing was, ladies, don't get me wrong. Don't get upset about what I'm about to say. Women, or I shouldn't say women, but Eve, which basically was the first woman as we know it through the Bible. Um, she got conned by Satan in the form of a talking snake. I'm sorry, ladies, but right there, talking snake. No, nah. None of the animals, none of the other animals talk. Why should I be listening to a serpent? You know, if it was me, I probably would have beat the serpent upside the head with a big heavy rock. I don't know. That's just me. But you got to realize, in essence, even though Adam and Eve were full-grown adults, they had the mind of a child. They were easily conned. They were susceptible to the serpents. You know, oh no, the only reason why he doesn't want you to eat that piece of fruit is because then you'll be as smart as he is. You know, or whatever. Whatever the serpent said to make Eve bite into the apple and go, ooh, this is delicious. I should share it with Adam. And, well, there's the male side of it then. Adam was foolhardy enough to listen to Eve and take a bite. Now, if he was smart enough, he would not have taken a bite. He would have just left it where it was to basically rot in Eve's hands. And I'm not saying, you know, Adam should have just let her go. And, no, woman, you are evil. You are trying to convince me of eating something that the Lord Almighty said no. And, well, of course she took a bite. I mean, men are good for a lot of things, but we are also susceptible to temptations of all kinds. And that's the male flaw. And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm flawed because I listen to Jerry, but I listen to Jerry, and if I know she's trying to steer me in the right direction or trying to keep me from harm, okay, yes, I will listen to her. But if it's a day where I don't feel like doing anything, or I'm just tired of running around for Jerry, I will say my piece. I will say, not today, hon. I am not feeling good. You know, and there are times where she just, well, we're getting off the track. But, I mean, it's one thing that Eve had to listen, or listened and believed in what the snake was saying, or the serpent, however you want to put it. There are, you know, different kinds. But for Adam, who knows just as well as Eve, we're not supposed to eat from that particular plant, but to listen to her and go, oh, okay. So, you know, we're just going to eat off this apple and make God jealous. You know, no. That's when mankind basically got into big trouble, and were kicked out of the garden. Now, I'm a big proponent in, you know, free will. It's one of our God-given rights, is free will, to choose what to do on our own. But it's also within our being to be intelligent enough to know right from wrong. Now, sometimes we learn our lesson at an early age. Sometimes we don't learn our lesson until we're in our, 40s or 50s. Sometimes it takes longer for others to get it to click, and sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, don't think we should do that. That might cause damage or problems. Now, as far as I'm concerned, a lesson in this particular part of the Bible is, we should listen to God. First off, listen to God. He's the one who created everything. He's the one who knows everything. Listen to God. Now, I know I have my periods in my life that I did not listen to God. I did my own thing, got bit in the butt for it, learned from my mistake, and moved on. Now, my biggest, I don't want to call it my biggest mistake because I don't think it's my biggest mistake. But with me and Jerry, we're like Adam and Eve. We're young to a lot of things, but we know a lot of things. And I've come to realize I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe anybody explanations. I don't owe anybody, proof of Jerry's health or my health. We've given it, we've shown the paperwork. Everybody, a lot of people wanted to deny it and say it was falsified, which I don't know how you can falsify a doctor's name. It's considered illegal. Now, I freed everybody from purgatory, basically. Everybody that was in my no-fly list is free to fly. But I've already noticed one person who wants to try to rattle my cage with this, we're falsifying this, we're, whatever. And all I have to say to that person, and that person should already know who she is, keep it up, and I will permanently keep you in purgatory, because this is everybody's last chance. Now, I know everybody has their own opinion, but they don't have to voice it. If you're going to be negative and fight with other people who are not negative, I don't need you on my channel. You're all you're doing is trying to get this bullshit that we're falsifying information or whatever. No. Now, I can't speak for Jerry, but I know I can speak for myself. I have poor memory and forget certain details and whatnot, but I do my due diligence to keep my my words as truthful as possible. I'm not saying that I'm lying. I'm just saying that there are times where I just forget certain details. And, then we get into this whole he said, she said. Now, if Jerry watches my video and realizes, oh, yeah, that area right there needs to be corrected because this is what really happened, and, she talks to me about it, and my brain goes, oh, yeah, that's right. The doctor didn't say that, he said this. Yes, Jerry still has minimum limitations. The doctor gave her just a lower back brace for long distance travel. So when we go to drive to New York for our cruise, she'll be wearing that for the most part of the trip. I did agree with her that if she can get us through the cities or the difficult parts like St. Louis, I'd have to look at the maps to see what other cities I might need help with, because when I'm doing a changeover in the middle of a big city, that's where I'm gonna But if it's like, oh yeah, you just stay on the same road driving through Indianapolis. Okay, I can do Indianapolis. I'll just park myself in the middle lane and drive, and don't have to worry about switching lanes or changing. Like what I have up here in St. Louis is what I call a spaghetti bowl, because it's built up to the point where it's like, here's this overpass and that overpass and this underpass and what? So it's like, yeah. If I don't have to if I don't have to go through heavy traffic or do one of those, up here in 500 miles, turn left to get onto whatever heading east. Actually, it would be right, turn right onto, but unless it's one of those, yeah. I know LA's got a major spaghetti bowl. I've seen pictures of it and went, how do you travel that stuff with that? No wonder there's so many people with road rage in big cities, because it's like, shit, I need to be in that lane and there's too many cars in my way. I'm gonna have to, try to zip through and not get into an accident type deal. But I leave that up in God's hands. Um, but I read a lot of your comments about her getting in the pool. Well, she's not getting in the pool unless the doctor okays it. I think she's got maybe 1 or 2 more visits to the doctor. And I personally am going to tell her that unless the doctor gives you an okay to be in a pool, I don't really want her in a pool. And not just because of her bacteria getting into the pool water causing other people problems, which I don't think that's going to be a problem because it's not that kind of open wound. It's from the, thin skin because of the cancer and, trying to fix it and do this and da-da-da-da-da-da. But if the doctor says she can go swimming, that's fine and dandy. But my biggest concern is her going swimming and let's say somebody else in the pool has an actual bacteria that gets into the pool. That can really mess her up. Or let's say the chlorine or the cleaning solutions that they put in pools to help keep them bacteria free gets to her wounds and causes a problem. I don't want to deal with that on a cruise. So it's going to be one of those kind of things like, why don't you just find yourself a lounge chair and just sit back and enjoy the sun or whatnot. Of course, I don't think I'll be I don't think I'll be swimming during the daytime. If they let us swim at night, okay, that's great. If not, I'll just get a lawn chair, find a shady spot, and enjoy. But our cruise liner has been sending us emails, updating us on information we might need or places where we can see in the Bahamas. Or not Bahamas, excuse me, Bermuda. Not Bahamas, Bermuda. We've double checked with both the cruise line and sister-in-law to me. And they've taken this trip multiple times and they didn't need a passport. All they needed was like their birth certificate, passport. What is it? Birth certificate or passport, and an ID. So I have my birth certificate. Last time I used my passport was 84 coming back to the States from Germany. So I don't know how easy it would be to get that corrected or updated. But okay, I am looking forward to it. My sister-in-law actually called Jerry this morning. Basically, her sister called her and wanted to ask her a couple questions about setting up the possibility of getting a private transportation to locations in Bermuda that she wants to show us. And I'm like, I don't even know if I'm getting off the boat, let alone, not because I don't have the proper documentation, which I do. It's, I don't care. I'm not interested in Bermuda. You want to get me off the boat so I can see the sights? Let's go to Norway. Let's go to Alaska. Let's go to someplace I want to go. But hey, I'm not looking this. I'm not looking to skip horse in the mouth. I'm just saying that Bermuda would not have been my primary or let alone my 5th decision for a cruise. There's plenty of cruises that are local. I mean, you can take a cruise. You can take a cruise, like a 5-day cruise up and down the Mississippi River. If y'all wanted to be real adventuresome, I'd take a cruise from like Florida to Panama, check out the Panama Canal and then up the Pacific coastline to California or Washington, and then, you know, get on a plane or something like that to fly back to, probably have to fly back to Florida where our car would be. Oh, yay. That's tomorrow. Okay. Thunderstorms for tomorrow. Yay. But, the story of Adam and Eve, which has had a lot of people question, not really question the Bible, but question a lot of different things because, well, for me, for instance, when I first originally started reading the Bible from cover to cover, my brain was very scientific. And when I got done reading the story of Adam and Eve and, you know, the birth of Cain and Abel, I was like, how did Adam and Eve go from being in the Garden of Eden to finding a tribe or group of people living near the Euphrates River? You know, and my scientific brain went, well, it's simple. While Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, the rest of the world moved on according to science. You know, the evolutionary period, you know, the end of the dinosaur, the beginning of mammals, probably even further along the line of you know, everything is as we know it should be. You know, there was no woolly mammoths or saber-toothed tigers or dire wolves roaming the earth anymore because they had either gone extinct or evolved into a smaller, lesser form of their and yeah, you know what I mean. But then my brain was going, wait a minute. Because according to scientists, we had enough Neanderthals, and they met up with Homo sapiens. So were the Neanderthals the people that Adam and Eve ran into? And, you know, somewhere in between the Neanderthals and the Homo sapiens, the missing link happened, and we don't know, you know, we're not 100% sure what the missing link looks like, let alone how old it could have been. There's a lot of scientific questions in my brain about, you know, the story of Adam and Eve and coming out of the garden and finding people. You know, it's like, okay, so that means during the whole time in the Garden of Eden, time went by slower. Yet outside of the Garden of Eden, it rushed past. It went its normal or its scientific evolutionary passing, you know. So, you know, a day in the Garden of Eden could have been 1,000 years outside of the Garden of Eden. We don't know. They don't tell us about it. They don't say anything about it. They, you know, I haven't read it in that book yet, and I'm just kind of like, will that book answer my questions? So far, all it's done is taught me about the creation of man in the Garden of Eden and how big it is. Not that I don't care about the size of the Garden of Eden, you know, according to missing information. It just doesn't sound pertinent. And if that's the case, well, then I understand why they removed it from the Bible, because it wasn't that important. You know, some people are like, who cares how big the garden was? Because obviously, you know, it's big enough to sustain, you know, animals of all kinds. So why would, I mean, if God can create Garden of Eden and mankind in 7 days, how is it in that 7 days does the rest of the universe, or not the universe, the rest of our world develop? Why couldn't he just say, boom, okay, everything's developed, you know, let's just see what happens. But I can understand, God just created human beings, and according to a lot of lore and legend, human beings were God's favorite creation. And that's why Lucifer and his legion of fallen angels are always trying to, I think he's done trying to kill us. I think he's more like trying to turn us against each other just so we, are so worried about, personal gain, or am I keeping up with the Joneses, or am I better than the Joneses, that kind of crap. And it's like our own egos are literally our downfall. I mean, you look in, I can't remember what Bible or verse it is, but there is, I think, several different Bible verses that literally warn us against our own pride. Pride comes before the fall. I used to think about that. I'm like, should I be proud of the accomplishments I've made, or should I just be content with the ones that are still being worked on? Yeah, I do have some pride about certain things, but I'm not boastful about it. I don't go running around going, look, I just made this. No. Yeah, I like to entertain people. Yeah, I like to cook. I try to combine the two when I can. Life gets to the point where you're so busy trying to live your life, you're not noticing if you're living it right, or if you're living it by, the standards of the Bible. And they're not very hard standards. I mean, for the most part, there's two main parts of the Bible that always hit me. One is the fact that throughout the Bible, you'll see comments like "do not fear" or "fear not," because God doesn't want us to fear Him. What He wants us to fear is the things that will knock us down, the things that will tear us up, whether it's created by our own hands or the devil and his works. But not everything that is disagreed upon is from the devil. I mean, herbalism. Herbalism was one of the main forms of medicine and healing, salves and whatnot. Herbalism, to me, because it's all natural, it comes from the ground, it comes from what God created Himself. I don't see anything wrong with that. Same with I know it's mostly a Hindu thing of using crystals and whatnot for healing of one form or another, chakra as they call it. I know it sounds like because it's from a different culture or a different religion that it should be evil, but I don't see how. Those rocks and those crystals came from the ground, and God created the earth, which is the ground. So I don't see how that's anything evil. I'm not rolling the bones, as they used to call it, which is chicken bones and whatnot, are a form of divination or fortune telling. I don't try to tell anybody's fortune. If I do anything with the runes or the cards that I have here, which I haven't even opened up yet, if I'm doing it for myself to look into my past or my future or try to understand what's going on, well, that's a personal thing, and I don't think it's wrong to try to, I'm not looking to see what my future is going to be like. I'm just looking to see how my past connects to my future and what's going on with me currently. I don't try to look into anybody else's future or anything like that, because then that to me is borderline wrong, because you're looking into somebody else's past, present, and possible future. No, because knowing one's future is one thing, but trying to find or see somebody else's future for them, um, no, that's definitely that's going into realms of paganism, or whatever you want to call it. That I just no. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. Um, but we have the God given right to choose for ourselves what to do. And I personally think that if we feel good about it, and we know it's not from a dark part of our brains or life or whatever, um, then it shouldn't be all that bad. I mean, I'm not praying to other gods or anything like that. I pray to God Himself. I don't, yeah, I recognize the different gods and goddesses of the Norse mythology. I recognize a lot of the different things from the Norse, not North. Well, yeah, they are called North, but Norse people. I mean, they're part of my history. They're part of my DNA. It's kind of, I don't know if I should say common or what, but I think it's important to know our origins, not just, oh, this is my mom, this is my dad. I'm talking about, oh yeah, um, I'm part German, part Norwegian, part Brit, part Scottish, part this, part, that was what we Americans are truly mutts, because we have an origin country that might have, here in the States might have blended. I've known plenty of people who are not just Native American, but they're also like Scottish or English, or even a couple of Germans. That's what happens a lot of times. And as we move forward, our DNA is going to get mixed with this DNA, and that kind of thing. I mean, I knew about my German, my British, my Scottish, and my Irish because of my mom. As for dad's side of the family, it was like nobody really knew until, I did a DNA test, Ancestry.com, and I got my information. But no matter who we are, I mean, you want to be pagan, that's fine and dandy. You want to be Christian, that's fine and dandy. You want to be a mixture of both. I don't want to say good luck to you, but I also don't want to say go for it, because I realize that trying to be on both sides of the fence can be difficult and treacherous. Not treacherous, but let's just say I've sat on many a fence, and after a while it becomes uncomfortable. I don't know how it is for you ladies if you go to sit on even just a regular wooden fence or picket. Well, I wouldn't say picket, but wooden fence, and you're sitting there for quite some time. I don't know how it hurts you, but I know how it hurts me. But I'm not playing, oh yeah, today I'm going to play this side, and tomorrow I'll play this side, blah, blah. No. I am going to be me. I'm going to be true to myself. And lately, because I have been, I don't even know how to describe it, but lately I've been feeling a little brain dead. So a lot of mornings I'm just kind of like, we're going to put this baby in neutral and let the winds of fortune take control. Um, I might have said that wrong, but that's all right. Because there are some days where it's just like autopilot. You know, okay, we're up out of bed, so I need to make coffee for me and Jerry, and then I need to cook breakfast if I can get my body to cook breakfast. You know, just those kind of things. It's like automatic. Fire truck. But anyhow, I know I've gone all over the place, and I try to stick as close as possible to Adam and Eve. In today's world, we have, oh boy, yep, we have a lot of things competing for our attention. We've got our family, we've got our religion, we've got our work, our jobs, we got house cleaning, we got straightening to do. We got all kinds of different things to decide what we're going to do. Now, I know for most of us, the job is important because it brings money into the house. I agree on that, but money is definitely one of many evils in our current day-to-day life. You either spend too much and don't have enough for bills, or you have so many bills that you spend all the money on bills, and you're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul so you can get grocery. So you can get basic groceries. You know, milk, bread, eggs, you know, ground beef. You know, you don't have a lot of extra money to go buy stuff or play around. And if you're still married, you've got your spouse to, you know, either your spouse to either work with or compete against, depending on moods and money and all that fun stuff. Try to ignore the serpents of our world. You know, you go on the internet and it's got all kinds of hey, you can get this in Menards for X amount of dollars, or that kind of stuff. You know, you have to sit down and figure out your priorities. You have to decide for the better. For the better or betterment of your family and your home. It's like, oh, little Timmy needs new pairs of shoes, but, you know, John needs new work pants, and Susie needs, you know, new pair of glasses, you know, all that kind of stuff. And you have to decide, okay, what's more important? Paying the bills or trying to get these things that everybody wants, but some of it is not necessary. Glasses might be necessary because without glasses, you know, you can't read your information, your paperwork, or anything like that. But then the shoes, you know, it's like, okay, his shoes are falling apart at the seam. You know, how much longer can we hold off from getting new shoes? Sorry, but, you know, let the kids laugh at you because you don't have new shoes, you know, the shoes that everybody has that you want. You know, I grew up in the military. And it wasn't until my dad retired in '84 that I realized what the issue was with kids, with people of my own age. You know, not only are they mean and just cutthroat, but if you don't fit into a clique, yeah, that's what we called it back then. If you did not fit in a clique and nobody knew what clique you were, you know, you were considered an outcast. No, not really. Just because I don't want to wear the fancy clothing or certain kinds of shoes or look this way or look that way, you know, it doesn't matter. I think one time I was asked what group I belonged with, and I just kind of went, what? And they were, you know, one of my classmates, she explained it to me, and I said, I don't belong into anything. I don't do that kind of stuff. She goes, well, you got to have a label. You know, you have to have a label of what group you belong to. And at the time, because I was reading Mary Summer Rain and I preferred mountains over anything else in my life, I just said, well, I guess if you want to put a label on me, just call me a mountain man. fact, I think she even signed one of my yearbooks with "Have a Good Summer, Mountain Man," or something like that. Not sarcastically, but you know. But I just, you know, I never fit into anything like that because that was my choice. You know, it didn't matter to me because I was whoever I wanted to be. You know, one day I could be coming to school wearing cowboy boots and a nice, what they called back then, a shit kicker belt buckle, basically a rodeo clown, you know, a rodeo person or cowboy. Next day I'd be wearing like clothes that everybody goes, oh, those are skater clothes. The fuck's a skater? Excuse my language. And then another time I'd come in wearing moccasins with my pants tucked into it in a nice t-shirt or something like that. You know, I didn't fit into anything. I was my own person. I wasn't going to try to fit in just so I can be with a group of people. You know, no, I wasn't really that way. But anyhow, I'm going to get off of this because this is almost 50 minutes long and all that fun stuff. But just keep in mind, God gave us the choice to make decisions, hard decisions, sometimes even harder than we wanted because of the situations in our life. You know, I remember one of the biggest things that I used to do during my latter half of high school up until maybe, you know, my late 20s, mid to late 20s. I had this key ring, and I had a little tag on it. And the tag just simply had WWJD. What would Jesus do? And I used to think a lot about that. I was like, what would Jesus do in this situation? How can I react like Jesus? How can I be more Christ-like so I can keep myself out of trouble? And I had that key ring for a long time, and it was starting to wear, the print and whatnot on it was starting to wear off. But even to this day, I mean, I had that keychain with 2 keys on it. A key for the house and a key for my locker. But we have to, I mean, we as Christians need to start reacting and being more Christ-like. Asking ourselves more and more, what would Jesus do? You know, it's a simple credo, but, you know, it is what it is. Anyhow, I'll see you guys on the flip side. You know what to do down below. Have a good day. Enjoy the week ahead. Bye.